Okay, you're good.
She's here. John is here now. Woo! We got us. Somewhat of us. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back, Julie Krull. Woohoo!
Thank you.
Holding you in prayer to feel better, and we've missed you on these Wednesday calls.
Thank you for all your prayers and well wishes and notes and texts and calls and songs, Rose. I just finally got it to load today and heard your beautiful voice for that song. It was beautiful. So yeah, thank you all. I was well wrapped in love and care during those long 14 days of interesting journey it was. Well, but thank you all. I appreciate it. I felt your love.
We're happy that you're well and that you're back. I just want to, before we really get started, if we're talking about what we've all been through, Shelley, do you have any updates on Melanie? You haven't heard from her. I just heard in the news that India is just having it's like it was for us. Their hospitals are full. And I was really concerned about how Melanie's doing. She has COVID, for those of you who don't know, and I don't know anything more other than Shelley told us. So, yeah, a good time to keep holding all of us in prayer for good health. Hi, Grace. Welcome. So we are recording, and it is Wednesday, April 21st. And we're here at the Good of the Whole Community Coherence call. And I think everyone knows me, so good morning. And I believe I know everyone here. And it would be, and what I'm feeling the next step for all of us is to have new faces, new voices, additional energy come to these Wednesday Good of the Whole calls. So that will be somewhat of the theme that we want to follow today. We've gone for the last 3 weeks thinking about what the value of living really is, and what's the value of our life, and what legacy do we want to leave. And if we all knew that we were going to die in the next few moments, how would you live? So it's really given us a chance to think more deeply as to what we value and how we want to live. And when we bring that into Good of the Whole and the connection field in our everyday living here, we want to open it up today for what could be the way that we best express who we are and how to live fully and how to move forward. So before we start that, I would love to have someone do a resonance as we bring us together. Anyone want to volunteer before I call on someone? Nahi? Sure. You're on mute though. Oop, there you go.
That's what I choose, to be on mute. So let's close our eyes and just pray together, my loved ones. Deep breath from the belly, soft belly. And release the loving that we are breathing. Let's imagine that we are sitting in a physical space together in a circle. Whomever you choose, just let's hold hands and create this circle. Oh. Breathing loving. Exhaling loving. Just seeing it, we are receiving it through one hand. From the center, the heart of the one next to us comes through the hand and integrated in the chest, and in the body, and goes to the other hand to another. Mm. The unity of loving that has brought us together. It gets to experience itself through the meeting of these hearts. Having the experience of being human. Remembering remembering that this loving unity that is the foundation, the core of our being, is giving us through these experiences that we have all collectively now, as called COVID, the opportunity, the blessing of changing our inner camera to see our different faces, and that deep connection that is embedded within each one of us. What we call the preciousness of life. Is coming through the virus to have this love affair with life itself. Thank you for this amazing waving of interconnectedness with one another. Whew. Mm. Mm.
Thank you, Nahid. We're having a love affair with life. Love affair with life. So, Julie, would you like me to bring the theme into today?
You can bring the theme in for today. I just want to just follow up on Nahid's though, because that was so beautiful. In that I heard while you were speaking, Nahid, COVID is an evolutionary driver. And not just an evolutionary driver on the planet to bring us together, to connect, to love more, to have that evolutionary love affair with life. It's doing that. It's doing it with fear and a lot of pain and suffering and grief, but it's doing it also with so much grace and beauty and love and connection. And so there's the external evolutionary driver of COVID, which is an important historical moment for our planet and our species. And it's also an internal evolutionary driver. Viruses catapult us into evolution. They always have on the planet. Different species. Viruses come in and change things. And this is a beautiful precipitator for us. I just felt the love in that. Like, what would our world really look like if we loved COVID and we loved this pandemic and we loved this unifier and we loved this opportunity? And yes, we love the loss in a way that our heart mourns and grieves, like you've been talking about for 3 weeks on the planet of how would I live? My brother-in-law is getting closer to the end of his life now on hospice. And every day is a big struggle. And it's not easy to sit by someone and watch the struggle and witness the struggle, but it's sacred. It's holy. It's beautiful. And it's painful. So I just want to just bring that idea in that this pandemic is an opportunity for more connection, greater connection, our evolutionary potential. It is an evolutionary driver internally and externally. And a lot of beautiful things are moving on the planet. I'm thinking also of the sentence yesterday for the murder of George Floyd and how that shifts things. They said in like 2,000 or 3,000 different cases in the last 5 years, only 7 convictions have ever been made. And that's huge. It's huge. So without getting into the politics of that, just watching the evolutionary driver of us coming together in greater connection and greater love, and really learning how to live for the good of the whole. So with Melanie in India, we're all wrapping her in love on her COVID journey. And let us all just really embrace this time for care and love and honoring of one another, of really coming into the fire. This morning, they were talking about the eternal present, the eternal present. They just kept coming back to the eternal present. And that was my lesson from COVID, is the holy moment of now. Like there's nothing else. Like Nahid just said, this is it. Let us bathe in this love and this connection and let it reverberate out to create even greater opportunities for this time on our planet. 1 year later, we still don't get it all. But what if we started trusting it all? What if we trusted the impulse of life, not our small minds trying to figure out how to manage a pandemic? What if we really trusted the impulse of creation that's moving through everything? So, Nahid, that was beautiful. Thank you for that love affair with life itself. That's the medicine. That's it. That's it. That's it. It's all that matters. And that medicine will heal us and bring us back into wholeness. Well, remember our wholeness. We're back in our wholeness. It just looks different, it feels different. So anyway, thank you, Nahid. I just wanted to drop that in. And I'll turn it back to you, Linda.
Thanks, Julie. That was delicious. And I can feel it. You know, there's a different pace that's happening now. And we think of, when I think of our solar system, I think of all the different galaxies. It is moving at its own pace, which we would, in our perspective, say, oh, it's so slow. And it comes down to planet Earth and everybody's running around like little busy ants. But then COVID comes along and it slows us down so that we can really feel the vibrations of the love that we're talking about, really feel life itself coursing through us and around us. But we do have to slow down to do that. So there is a blessing in it. And so having said that, we are in our slowing down and shifting and changing in the connection field. As this organism, there are each one of us is a cell. Each one of us, each person that's offering something in the connection field is feeling this move towards a new place or station or expression of our lives. And so this came up at our leadership council meeting, that there are big changes that are happening in the connection field going forward. And we are together today to have an opportunity to collectively or individually express how we want to see that move forward. Because there are changes. People move in, people move out, new people come in, which means that those who've been with us for a year or more are stepping up to welcome new people coming in. So I wrote a letter. I composed something to try to get this idea across. And we were going to send you this letter, but since we're meeting today and it was only written yesterday, I thought I might just read the letter to you so you can get a feel, and then we can talk about where we want to go with the connection field, and invite you, after you hear this letter, to listen for the impulse that's moving through you, and to invite you to come to Friday. Is that right? Friday's Connection Field team meeting? Is that what we were talking about, Julie? Because I don't want.
That's what Shelley suggested on Monday.
Um,
The Connection Field team meeting on Friday.
okay. So there's an open invitation for that. Let's, if you don't mind, I will share my screen and read this to you. Is that okay? Or I don't have to share the screen, but I'm going to. Okay. All right, can you hear me okay? Because now I can't see anyone. Hopefully you can hear me. All right, so this is for you, dear connected community. It's been a little over a year since we first felt the mysterious magnetic pull into the connection field. Remember that? A year ago. And since then, this tiny seed has matured into a blossoming plant that has offered all of us incredible gifts. As a result, we have all enjoyed and been nourished by the many diversified, delicious fruits of the field. It's been an honor and a joy to see how many of us have grown, changed, and evolved in myriad ways. We are collectively learning what shared, distributed leadership looks like. And in the process, the impulse of evolution is pulling us once again towards a new aliveness, calling us forward to leap even higher into our purpose. So we want to thank each one of you for being an integral part of this beautiful growing garden. We are self-organizing and allowing the resonant field of love to guide us into the next phase of the connection field. So here's the question. Who feels called to take one more step forward and upward? Who's feeling the inner call to shine a bit brighter than you have before? Who's listening to the vibrations of your body temple saying, it's time for me to serve the greater good? Are you ready to say yes to offering your unique gifts and talents? And some of us here, most of us here are already doing that. But would you enjoy hosting an hour of your own creative endeavors? I could name a few names of people here who haven't done that yet. Will you help to hold the incredible loving energy of the connection field for others to experience what you now know is possible? The opportunities are here now. The cosmos is aligning with all of us, urging us to express our love in the greatest way that feels right for us. Will you be the next one to stretch out of your comfort zone, to be even more of your authentic self, to host, to manage the connection field, to coordinate what happens, to create whatever is needed to help the connection field grow? This is the time to speak up. We want to encourage you, support you, and of course, celebrate you in every way. After all, the connection field has been our place to feel connected, valued, seen, heard, held, and whole. Let's keep it going so others can experience this too. We need each of us to do our part together, and we want to hear from you soon. So here we are with an idea that many of us who've been holding this field are now moving to new projects, new endeavors. We're growing, and we want to celebrate that. John, who has been in the Resonance Lounge and held it together week after week, day after day after day, has some new things on the horizon. And John, would you like to talk about that and then bring in this whole idea of how do we help each other step forward to the next step and not let everything fall apart because we're not here? And those who are here, how do we step up a little bit more? So John, would you like to share what's happening in your exciting life?
Yeah, sure. First of all, I just want to say on yesterday's call, Rose stepped up and hosted and did an amazing job. And her drumming yesterday blew everybody apart because it was so awesome and changed the energy. Uh, a new person came in yesterday and immediately offered his expertise, uh, holding a meditation, and yet uh, being new to the connection field, he did something slightly different, and it was taken different ways by different people, just like all of us. And yet, the energy is there for always in the connection field for people to come in, to grow, to bring what their gifts are, and also to listen to this, for some of you, 12 years, 8 years, at least one full year of creating this container for the resonant field. So stepping in and being a host is a beautiful piece. And thank you, Rose, for doing that yesterday. That was great. Anyway, yeah, I've been hosting for a year, 4 days a week, and then being part of the advisory council, holding the Men in Connection every Monday night for a year. And it, as the evolutionary process happens, I felt called. I've been writing for all these years, and I've always said, well, I have to get this together. So I took on a major responsibility for the next year to be part of a coached, edited group process on completing a book and getting it out into the public. It's not my goal to be a New York Times bestseller or to try to earn a living from it, but I feel like, and to be really honest with you, the impetus for this started with Good of the Whole, with the connection field, with the core of resonance that I've embodied over this last year with the help of all of you. And so I made this commitment, and it's a very extensive commitment. And much of it is along with my little business that I'm attempting to complete and hand over to my son, is going to be pretty much a full-time type experience for me. But I just feel that my heart is saying that it's time to do this. So I'm going to need to be backing off of hosting the Resonance Lounge as I've done for the last year. And I have to go through the schedule. Like I can't, I'm not going to be available tomorrow. Next week, I have 35 hours of this other investment of my time. And so I still feel like it's my responsibility to Good of the Whole and the resonance field to help and procreate new opportunities for people to do the hosting position. And I can tell you, it certainly changed my life. And sometimes it was a little anxiety provoking at the beginning, and yet then it became a very natural part of my life. And I feel like anyone that would step into that situation to really bring themselves forward to hold the space for this love and this beauty that comes through every single hour and has changed the people's lives. And yet time moves on, evolution happens. And right now, this shift feels very important for me. I've wanted to do it for 10 years and now feels like the time. So having said that, I also feel that Good of the Whole you know, everybody here and others have invested a great deal of time, energy, and love for a full year that came out of a magical moment when COVID happened. And that, I think, is beautiful that everyone was so far has spoken about the value of this virus that is a collective. And it was a magical beginning, and it grew and it brought in many more people. And so now, as one thing comes toward a completion, a new thing begins. And the great pieces of what has happened are still being held, and yet, you know, we have the opportunity to look outside the box and go, what's next? What are the next questions? Who are the next people? How can this be expanded beyond our wildest dreams of what we've held for a year? And so, you know, I certainly plan on being part of good of the whole without question. And yet, the modality within which I do that is shifting and changing. And so, yeah, I just want to put that out. And I kind of feel the energy of good of the whole, you know, as a whole. Well, our country, our world, our universe is in that expansion and evolutionary process, and so grateful to be part of it. So that's kind of where I'm sitting right now. Thank you.
Thank you, John. It's like we're not saying goodbye. We're just saying, here's another child who's going off to college. Yay, you know? And so we will miss you, but we will see you. So it's an honoring of what you're being called to do. And of course, you have the support of all of us, just as if each one of us breaks off, branches off, is starting to do something, we're still connected to good of the whole, knowing that we've got, you know, we've got support, we've got this love, we can always come back to get, you know, slurp up some of this love soup that is always on the table. So your questions were how, you know, what's next? So let's just open it up. We're not going into breakout rooms. Let's open it up to, what do you feel in your heart for you is the next step, or for someone that you know, to bring them into the connection field? Or like Rose, the fact that you stepped up, and I don't know what happened with a new person in the group, but you brought an energy of your drumming. You wove the thread of the connection field of its, you know, its own golden thread through the gathering yesterday. So we are learning. Let's give credit to each of us, because we're learning from each other. We have learned from each other. We're growing, and we're allowing what needs to happen. So I'm going to open this up to anyone here who is resonating with what we're talking about. We know the connection field is changing. We can't stop the change. It is evolving. And if you have loved it, what is your part to keep the thread woven through us, knowing that it's changing? You know, when you have a great big loom and you're weaving a piece of fabric, if you're changing the color, you got to stop and weave the new color in. So this is what we're doing. What are you adding, and how can you help? And it's open to all of us. This is not the time to be quiet.
Hi, everyone. As I participate in the meetings and enjoy all the wisdom that comes from these meetings, my observation is that everyone on this group who's been here for a long time has a common goal. That is, we share something very valuable. And that is a desire to make a better, happier world. And I would say probably the prime of the people we care for, including ourselves, of course. And the strength of the group, as I see it, is that what has happened here over a period of time that was developed, I think, largely by Julie and Shelley, is we've created a container, an environment where people who have different views can come together and share their love and their disagreements and still respect and communicate with one another. So that's the power. We've created something that's very different than the outside world. The outside world is one where there's continual competition, continual confrontation for limited resources. And what we've done here, and we're not the only one, there are other groups that have done things like this, but I think that's the strength of the group. We create a way of communicating with one another, bringing people together. But the weakness that I would see is that there has not been new life, new blood coming into the program for a long time. So it seems to me that the key issue is what needs to be done to recruit and bring additional people into the group. And that's my area of interest is creating a million member movement of people who teach basically Einstein's idea that we have to teach a newer way of thinking. But that's one way, as they say, there are many ways to the top of a mountain. So I think that, my suggestion is that the focus would be, how do you bring new people in? And what I'm learning in my group is that, unfortunately, you have to advertise, you have to go on the internet, you have to let people know what's going on. We're kind of almost a closed group. It's not frequent that new people come in. It was like a rare occasion. So I think somehow you have to figure out how we, and maybe it may take some funding. It may be required to advertise on the media to let people know what's going on. And here's a place. I think there are millions of people who want something like this, but we're not letting people know about it. We're a closed tribe almost. It's a good tribe, but we're not very good at getting other people to make aware that there's something worthwhile to come to here. So that's my thought.
Thanks, Don. I want to just expand on that. Drop this into the conversation is that I see this as an opportunity to level up. It's time to level up. We're really evolving this community project of the connection field as well as good of the whole. And yet with the leveling up, this was a social experiment. We came together, COVID induced, quarantine induced, social distancing induced, online community method and structure, and it is a beautiful blossoming, like all of Linda's gorgeous language about life and fruits and trees and all of that. It was like this beautiful social experiment that we did for a year, and we did it in a distributed leadership model that nobody defined and nobody created and nobody organized and nobody said, here's how we're going to do it. We allowed the field to bring something forward in a very unique way. That in itself is a case study that we could share with a lot of people of how does that work, because that is a beautiful example of how superorganisms do their thing. So to Don's comment about nobody coming in, I for months it was like, well, nobody knew's coming. Well, nobody knew's coming. Well, nobody's new. Well, we really didn't have the leadership creating opportunities for new people to come in. It was like there was no one ultimately in charge. There was no one to say, let's have a marketing plan. Let's have a business plan. Let's move this forward. Let's put more form and structure in it. I think we're at that place where we go, oh, we know what we have now. We also have a brand new technology to add more educational components and more paid components and more responsive components for community organizing, which is exciting. And thanks to an anonymous donor in the board, we now have an administrative assistant who's going to be able to support this for 20 hours a week. So all the self-organizing that's happening, all the co-creating, all the new ways of expressing and sharing and being, we have the opportunity to bring in that administrative support for continued self-organizing. And this is important that we don't put it in an old paradigm of a patriarchal top-down model where someone's in charge. It really needs to stay in community leadership. It needs to stay in a distributed leadership model that is a community program arising from within this beautiful field. John, you said creating a container for the resonant field. We did that. We created a container for the resonant field and then allowing everyone in their individual expression, in their autonomy, and in their diversity. I said this on Monday, it's really important that we diversify, that we go all the way in who we be as individuals. This isn't to unify in a monoculture. It's to cohere all of our amazing gifts and talents and voices and expressions. It's to fully embody the superorganism and all the different roles and responsibilities. It's not to monofy anything. And so with the support of an administrative assistant, with continued distributed leadership, we have an opportunity to really grow this and to do that expansion, Dawn, that I think we're all ready for. The Unity Earth community has asked, how can the connection field play a big role for Unity Week in June? That itself could be an incredible opportunity for the connection field. How does the connection field want to express itself during Unity Week in June? How does the connection field want to sustain the energy of Unity Week beyond June and create a regenerative template and grow this thing? One of our leadership team members, Glenn Head, always had the vision of this being 24 hours. 24-hour, can you imagine a 24-hour resonance lounge? I love the resonance lounge, but can you imagine free education, free programming, free connection space? It's all about connection. Like Don said, we all want a better world. And we all know that that better world begins with connection and living for the good of the whole. So here we are in the connection field, bringing opportunities for greater, deeper, broader, and more creative connection, up-leveling connection. What does that really mean on our planet? And we're not going to outgrow the virtual template here. We're not going to outgrow connecting online. That's not going to go away, but we can bring a richness and an aliveness, like Nahid was saying, more aliveness to this connection. And then we can all go out into our own communities and create other expressions of the connection field live. face to face when it's time. So I love that idea, Dawn. Yes, it's time to expand. It's time to invite in new people, new ideas, new creativity, new expressions, and begin to formally see the connection field in ways that you could bring your own work in and be co-creative partners with the organization of what does it look like? How do we bring more education in? How do we bring more offerings? How do we bring more creativity? So it is time. And I hope that you will all get to meet Kelsey Kuhn next Wednesday. We'll bring her on the call. You can all meet her and see that she can be the hub of this, the mothership sitting in the central command and bringing in and supporting and loving and nurturing everyone's offerings and helping this literally grow, just like Dawn is inspired to let it grow. It's time. It was a social experiment. I think we've learned so much, and there's so many blessings and gifts from this last year. There's so many. And yeah, I don't see it as an ending, like Linda was saying, with even John stepping down. I think it's a new beginning. It's an amazing time for great expansion from that place of love and connection. So just wanted to drop that in. Thank you for that inspiration, Dawn. Here we go. Buckle up. It's time to level up, guys. The rocket ship's ready to go. So I'm complete.
Thinking of so many people who regularly show up in the connection field who are not on this call right now. There are so many new friends that we have met along the way here in this past year. So I'm feeling like it would be nice to have a retreat. I know we have done this where we're physically together, but again, you know, and we did it, I think, in last September, but there was a need for healing. We have come a long way, and it would be nice to have a retreat now where we're just heart-storming ideas and stepping up and saying, this is what's calling me. And there's so many people, you know, that I'm thinking of who aren't on this call at this moment. Maybe you'll be watching the recording. I hope so that we can perhaps plan a day where it's not mandatory that everyone comes, but that everyone wants to come because we are living for the good of the whole community. And welcome, Miranda. Happy that you're here. I'd love to hear from some of you who aren't showing your faces today. So I'm going to be quiet and have you speak up for whatever is moving through you, knowing that we're going through some changes right now, and they're good.
Okay, Linda, you're calling me in. I know I'm not feeling good, so I'm just kind of laying in bed and I went outside. But in my life right now, with the loss of my sister and my business, I've closed my office now in the past few weeks. I'm in major transition, and I know I will be stepping up more in this field. I don't know how yet though, but I feel like I had to let go of a lot of things before I can step up and do that. And so I'm closing do probate and things with my sister stuff that I need to do, but I know that will free up more energy in the next few months. So I'm ready, but I just don't know what that looks like yet. I'm in between, like I'm in the threshold between two worlds, and I know but I can't put into words what that's going to look like yet.
Grace, I'm curious, does this inspire you though is it like this?
Oh yeah.
Feeling this something? Yeah. Okay.
And so I'm in deep listening, you know. I'm a 3 on the Enneagram. I don't know if you know what the Enneagram is, but I'm a doer. But for me to sit and listen and wait, it is a huge shift for me. Because I'd normally say, jump in, yeah, I want to do this, and I'm like, no, You need to sit and listen. It's not you running the show anymore. It is the universe within you working through you. And that's a big shift for me. That is a huge, I don't know if anybody can relate to that, but that is huge for me, not to just jump in and say, yeah, I'll do this, but oh, I need to listen for what the universe wants to unfold, not Teresa or Grace, but what the universe wants to unfold. So thank you for your patience, but yeah, it's coming. Love you all.
I need to leave. Just I want to say thank you, Grace, for that. We all are being cooked somehow. And it really cannot be rushed. It's doing it. It's doing it. Even what is happening. I guess from the beginning, my perception has been that we have come together for what is happening, that each one of us would become in the process, and we would leave, we would go somewhere to impact. And then there's a source, there's a place to come back or impact, or maybe even offer here. It doesn't matter. It's really is our connection with each other and knowing that there is a place to come. It's like home, to be supported, to be lifted, to be inspired. And I don't know. It's like, yeah, something is cooking, and it's been screaming for a long time, and is taking some form. But that's just this moment by moment by moment. Do I know what is final? No, this is just non-ending process that we all are in it, but just listening to that. Oh, I guess this is where I am. I love you, and I be here again. Bye.
So I guess I'll speak. It's exciting to hear Julie's enthusiasm and excitement for the future with the help that's come on board. So I really look forward to seeing what will be birthed from that. So it sounds like there's a new future coming forth. I also see the point Dawn made, that it like, I don't know if other people are coming on other calls, but I really enjoyed the multicultural aspect of our gatherings and our differences. And I'm not seeing those people here. I haven't for the last few weeks. So I'm wondering what's up with that. And so I just want to throw that in, that different cultures, different ways of seeing, different ways of being are important catalysts for growth in a safe place of sharing, which I feel this was, or is, is. And so I'm just throwing that out. And as far as my life is concerned, we're hitting the road for the next 6 months. And so I'm not in any position to step up and to do anything further than what we're doing. We've been on the connection field with the trust frequency embodied every week for the past year. And we'll carry that on. We have recordings on YouTube of everything we've done, and with Wowza every week. And Oriana is now on with us. And so we have a three-way conversation around the dance of souls and the trust frequency, which is really fun and exciting for us to have her come with her knowledge, her deep knowledge of biochemistry and the nature of the universe, since that's what we're bringing to the table, so that everyone can walk in total trust. What Julie as came to as a foundation is trusting the evolutionary impulse, the conscious loving universe, and getting into that frequency of our connection to our divinity and all that is, and shifting the whole shooting match as far as I'm concerned. The whole ball game, I guess the whole shooting match, I guess that's not really a very good image, is it? The whole ball game. Don't know where that came from. I mean, I've been using that forever. It's just a saying, right? Shooting match. Anyway, the whole ball game. So anyway, it's been a delight being with you all and having the opportunity to do our trust frequency embodied and to be a part of people who are listening to the field. That's what brought me here, is listening to the field and acting on what we hear. I mean, it's fine to hear, but if you don't act on what you hear, then it doesn't do anything. And that's my life has been about. The native people said, listen. So I listened and I got it. And it changed my life and how I raised my kids, what I've done for the past 30 years. So that's, to me, that's key, because there's new information available. Nassim Haramein said, as we tune our bodies to higher frequencies, there's more information available. So there's just that something's coming on this planet that's never been on the planet before. And we have to bring it to pass through our choice, through free will, through the physical. So, and it has all to do with heaven on earth and peace on earth and all that. So it's been exciting to be a part of this, and all of you, each of you get it and intend to be the bringers of this new way of being. So I'm honored to be a part of it, and will continue to the extent that I can. And I thank each of you.
Thank you, Connie. It's great to witness an awareness, an aha moment that saying shooting match just doesn't match our vibration. So thank you for acknowledging that you just got that, right? And I want to welcome Miranda. It's always wonderful to see your beautiful face here. And it looks like Grace just left the call. I was going to wish her well since she wasn't feeling well, and also welcome her back. She's been traveling a lot. So we all are going through a change, Miranda, and this is kind of what we're talking about, since you popped in a little late. And Angelica, welcome. We are having an open heart storming about the next steps for the connection field and for each one of us individually, because that is affecting the collective, whatever we're deciding or however we're listening and being encouraged by the field to step up, to level up, as Julie says, and take more responsibility, that ability to respond to things that are shifting and changing. And it feels good. It feels good to step into the next level of however you're expressing whoever you are. So yeah, I would love to hear from everyone else. I think we're moving into the next hour, and I don't know if there's a host. I'm always confused on Wednesdays. Maybe John hosts and continues on, or
Yeah, we go 10 more minutes and then John picks up the Resonance Lounge and continues.
okay, so this goes to 15 after, and then he picks it up. So listen up, people. If John's not going to be here, who's going to do it? Who's going to host next Wednesday and continue this moving forward? So think about that. So we, it's always good to shake the trees. The fruit's up there, let's shake it and see what falls out, because we can get complacent. We can get comfortable. We can get in habits. And this is our time of tree shaking and waking up that part of us that's maybe been a little too sleepy or lazy or content, to let things continue on day after day the way that they are. So we're shaking it up, and we're asking for your heart to open and connect and step up. And what is it saying? What's it calling? And hello, Tom. Welcome. We haven't seen you here before. Carol sent a message. So we're opening this up to feel into your heart, as we've been together for a full year. So I don't know, Wazi Tom, if you've been on some of the hours that I haven't seen you or met you. The connection field has been rolling on and collecting moss. Is that the right thing? We've been growing in this garden of love for a full year, if not longer. And we're feeling that the fruit is ripe, and now we're kind of replanting and retilling the soil for new things to grow. So yeah, I'd love to hear from Claudia and Susan. I know that you've had things brewing, and Julie is shifting, all of us. So we have about 5 minutes to speak up before we move into the next hour. Hello.
Hi, everybody. Well, I applied for a job on a couple days ago, so I'm waiting to be offered an interview. I think I have a good chance of getting it because it's at an agency where I used to work, and they closed my program because of the pandemic, and now a similar position has finally opened up. I've been on unemployment for over a year, or almost a year, I should say. And I'm ready to go back to work and be of service to my community and productive member of society. And so the position is called Employment Training Specialist. So I'll be helping people with disabilities who want to get a job and helping them to volunteer at places, driving them to places, because most of them do not have a license. So I'll be driving them so that they can volunteer. And I don't know what my hours will be yet, so I'm not in a position to step up right now because I don't know what my schedule will be yet. It's only a part-time position, so it might just be like 12 to 4, 12:30 to 4:30, something like that. I don't know yet. Or 8:30 to 12:30, something like that. So just wanted to update you all, and we'll see what happens. Thanks for listening.
Thank you, Rose, and congratulations. You know, you are showing us that we're not quite post-pandemic, but we're trying to get back into life. And we know that life will never be the way it was before the pandemic, before that first lockdown. We don't want life to be the same because we were going through rushing with blinders on. And now we've had this chance to truly be nourished by the field. So as you go back into your work world, and as John starts in his new work world, and many of us are shifting now because everything is shifting. But when we know that, we can take everything from here into this other world, and then, like we've been saying all morning, come back here to get refueled again. So good luck and congratulations. Who else is shifting, changing? I think Miranda was going to speak, but it looked like she might have hit the wrong button. So we'll see if she comes back in.
Tom, would you like to introduce yourself to the group?
I can do that. Thank you, John. I saw Susan just unmuted herself. I thought maybe she was going to speak. She also posted something in the chat here about, I think, her changing. And so I think that fits with Linda's topic. But I'm happy to go after Susan, and thank you for the invitation, John.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, Susan.
Put a note in the chat. As you know, I did not have very good internet. I have the broadband internet lined up to my house, and the in-house installation is next Monday. And I have a good working computer, so I'll be able to participate at a more fuller level then. And I don't know, I just happened to be on the call today because I have the mornings off and I work in the afternoon and evening. So I had no idea what we were talking about today. So maybe if there's some kind of announcement or something, maybe pick a few hours or a mini workshop, not a whole, I know you did the retreat in November, I think 11/11, right? Was the retreat where we were all day together? I'm sure some of the people that aren't here now would, if they know what's going on, they'll show up. So I'm going to leave it at that. Again, not a good internet, but I'm ready to participate, and I'd be happy to help host like a Thursday Resonance Lounge or host Creation Station on Fridays, although I work a lot on Friday afternoon. And I do want to say I have not seen the Creation Station, but that was partly, my idea and others. Ia, John, I forget who we were all talking one day. Everyone was sharing kind of their work. Like John was talking about a book and he read some of his information. And now look, here he is in the coaching to get his book out. Ia also, and her memoirs. I don't know where she is with that, but said she's writing a book now. So, and I have, my creation, We Are Water, I've been working on, again, waiting on the better internet. And that might be more of an educational offering in Resonance. But I'm sure some of these other people would be happy to hear what's going on if they were aware that, this is taking place. So that's all I have to say for now. Thank you. I'm excited.
And Angelica unmuted herself. So Angelica, we'll give you some space.
Well, I'm going to circle back to Susan. Oh, her mic is off. Okay, we love you too, Angelica. But to circle back to Susan.
Linda, I'm here
Yes.
if you need me.
Just to acknowledge that you really have been putting your heart and soul into growing in this past year and learning what resonance is, and the physical act of making sure that your home has proper internet connection. And that was a big move for you to look into and get that going. So, and I know that you've done it so that you can be here without the interruptions of an internet that's not steady. So thank you for that. And I hope all goes well on Monday. It's supposed to be a lot of high energy happening on Monday, April 26th. There's
Well, there you go.
yeah, there you go. Yeah. So
Yeah. And a lot of people said, well, even one time I got an email from Martin, well, what can we do to get you better internet? And this county I live in, Nelson County, right below Albemarle County, where Charlottesville is, fully loaded with providers, does not have good cell phone service or good internet service from Sprint, Xfinity, Verizon. They just don't service this area well, and they will say they do, but they do not. And this local Firefly, it's a broadband, but it's broadband at least, and has very good reputation. Totally did not even try to sell me the more expensive package. They said just start at the $49.99 a month, unless you get a kids, all needing to be on Zoom at once. You'll be fine with that. So, and she's like, if you want, you can go to the $89.99, but don't even start there. Well, that's a lot different lingo than what Verizon. Took me 3 days to finally get to a person, and hours on each day of Verizon for them to turn off my service. We'll give you 50% off for the next 90 days. And I said, I don't need 90 days off, you know what? Right. And finally, it's like, or 50% off crap, shut it off. Finally, a man shut it off for me. So that was not even easy. So it's just accounting, and I'm sure there's other people, maybe some on this call, maybe not, just poor internet service, like probably a lot of kids trying to go to school by Zoom in rural areas, or maybe not so rural, but there's just not the system set up. So it has to change. Maybe more people will get on board, and I'm real excited. I'm happy to do some hosting. We'll see how this internet goes next week. Hopefully I'll on, live, full face, full audio. So thank you very much. I'm real excited to participate. And that's all I have to say for now. Thanks, Linda. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, John. I can't thank everyone enough, really. My whole life's changed. So I have to give credit to the connection field and COVID and, my own town without a car for 5 months. I got to sit, hibernate. So, all right, I'm going to stop talking. Thank you.
thanks, Susan. Connie had said she wanted to hear from Tom, if you're willing.
Sure. Yeah, no, that was actually John who spoke of that. But anyway, Oh, I'm sorry. She put it in the chat. You're right. Thank you. Well, interestingly, it's snowing here. How exciting. I'm in Milwaukee. I'm outside of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and it is snowing. Really, really cool. Um, I think I mentioned to you, Linda, this is probably my 5th time in this group. Found out about it. I told John, what is it called? Good of the whole, I guess. And I know there are these chat type of groups that have emerged during this time, and it's certainly a lot of fun, and especially fun because people are, spiritually inclined, and that's how I live, spiritually inclined. I'm a former educator, professional career educator, 35 years. Um, I'm retired about 8 years or so, and I continue to guide and mentor people. I'm a practitioner of shamanic technique. Been doing that for 25 years, so I understand the ways of the indigenous people. I'm Lakota, Ogallala Lakota, and I do ceremony, I do healing work, do guidance, spiritual guidance, meditation. I have a big meditation practice, and yesterday at 10 o'clock, I was with Rose and a couple other people, and the guide didn't show up, and Rose said, well, does anybody want to do something? So I just jumped in, and I lead an international meditation group. I lead local meditation groups. I teach meditation. Just got off the phone, the Zoom with a woman I'm mentoring. And so this is what I do, connecting with folks of like mind and like heart, open heart. And John yesterday led his session, I think it was at 11, and he talked, the very first thing out of his mouth was, we come together with open hearts. And so this is a heart-based group, and it's absolutely beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. And I'm happy I can have some time to be here again today. And I introduced some topics when I've been here in the past. And I know a few things that some people do here. Claudia's down in Guatemala, and I think she's knowing the indigenous people's ways. And there was, I don't remember his name, but I'm sure he was Lakota. And I noticed that, people do use Lakota words when they say aho. And Mitakwe Oyasin, I think the woman name is Bridget, who uses Mitakwe Oyasin. And so that's all nice because, like I said, I'm Lakota, and I understand those ways. So I hope that answers your question. And I lead circle. So when I did the meditation yesterday, it was in a circle. I do circle work, and I'll say this, that I'm working. You may not know that Milwaukee, Wisconsin is one of the most segregated racist cities in the United States. It has the second highest incarceration rate in the whole country, and Wisconsin has the highest incarceration rate among Black people in the nation. So we've got a lot of problems here with racism, and I'm doing work to address those problems by creating a unity circle, an integrated unity circle where people who don't look like each other gather together, and we talk about safe topics as we've built the circle, and we'll be moving into topics that are less comfortable around discrimination and harm. And it's about creating relationships, creating community, breaking down stereotypes, and realizing we're all one. So all of my values match your values, and it's a wonderful chance to be here. Thanks for asking. I hope I've told you what you want to know, and I'm open to answering anything else you want to know. Gratitude, gratitude, gratitude. I'm complete.
So thank you for that, Tom. I've been with Good of the Whole for a couple of years, but a year in this hour we call the Resonance Lounge. Started when COVID started, for people to come in, feel safe. feel connected, even though they were isolated, reduce the anxiety as much as possible, and to bring forth much of what you talked about in your processes and what you do. And that is, speaking of the resonant field, it is the field of energy of the universe that we experience as love, undefined in its fullness, so that that energy is available for every sentient being and life on our planet. And as we have that, the diversity becomes very important. We stop judging anyone as being separate or different.